Monroe Mann here, back again with another special guest, the fantastic Monica Trombley, an attorney I've known for quite some time. I think I met you at, was it a Digital Film Academy in New York City?
I think it was at Pete's Candy Store, but we may have corresponded before that via
It
email.
was at Pete's Candy Store. Interesting. What, one of those shows that I did at Pete's Candy Store?
Yeah, I think so.
It's funny, I was looking at old photos or old YouTube videos or something like that, and I did see just last week I saw a photo or one of my videos from Pete's Candy Store. It brings back a lot of memories. I was that. I'm trying to think. 2000 and was that around like 2007, 2008?
That's entirely possible because I remember I was still married at the time. So these days
Wait,
in my life, it's like
what
pre-married.
was I a lawyer at the time?
Yeah, yeah,
Then it had to have been after 2010.
yeah. Because I remember. Let's see. I'm not sure. Maybe you were in law school because I do remember that I had seen your headshot at the talent agent's office I worked at. And I remember I had seen, I think you'd like written a Craigslist post at some point many years beforehand or sometime beforehand. But I remember seeing your headshot and I was like, okay, that's nice to match a name to a face. I do
I'm
remember that.
thinking it was 2009, and I was in law school at the time.
Yeah.
I think it was in like my end of my second year or something like that. That kind of rings a bell. Um, hmm. Okay. Well, interesting. And were you a lawyer at the time?
Yeah. I was admitted. I know at one point I was interning with a talent agent, but I was also working with my film production company. So I was definitely working with my film production company at that time.
Okay. And is this one that you're still with now? Do you still have this production company?
No, that was One Way. I'm sure you remember One
Okay,
Way.
I remember that. Yeah. Boy, it's funny talking to people from different eras of your life. It does bring back memories, and
Yeah,
it's no, the one thing that I know that you're doing now is you have your own podcast.
I do.
What's that about?
So it's called The Gorgeous Ginger Lawyer. It's basically my observations on things as being a licensed attorney, being somebody who's originally from North Carolina and battled her way to get to New York City. Not a drinker, child free, not a drug taker, cat mom.
Are you? I hope you're not a drug giver either.
Nah.
Okay,
I
very.
did. Now, I did think of going to pharmacy school. Like, that was one of my life plans I was going to do initially. But basically, general chemistry in college and applied calculus kicks my butt.
Yeah, calculus. Oh no, what was I'm trying to think. What kind of took me away from being a chemistry major? I think it was I did calculus and I barely got through that, and then organic chemistry one was brutal. So I understand the draw and also the wake up call. Going, this is not something that I can do very easily.
Yeah. I had a college professor in college. I remember my general chemistry class professor's name was Ofterheidi. Everybody called him Ofter Hitler.
Oh my, after Heidi.
Hmm.
Did they call him that to his face?
I don't know if he knew about that particular nickname, but I remember the first day of class, he actually said to us, half of you are not going to pass. And he was the type of teacher that would call on you. And if you didn't know the answer, he wouldn't move on to somebody else. He would just make you sit there and he would make you squirm.
We need more of those teachers.
Yeah, it prepared me well for law school, I imagine.
Yeah, I feel like there's been incredible dumbing down of our education system now. Hi, Tensai, nice to see you. And I just feel like today I taught a number of times as an adjunct professor at various schools, and I was literally reprimanded by the head of the school at one of the schools because I was being too strict and I wasn't giving enough A's.
Oh my God.
And I said, these people can't write in English. Their grammar is terrible. They don't know how to have a topic sentence. They don't know how to have supporting evidence. And they go, I know, but these kids are coming from these backgrounds. I go, so you want me to give them A's and tell them that they're great and don't need to improve? That's going to help them improve from their tough backgrounds. And I realized I didn't like. I don't know if it's American education or just the schools that I went to, but I found that the students in Americans extremely disrespectful to teachers. And I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like our education system is become too lax now, where we're give, treating students with kids' glove? Hi, Azalia Polanco.
Well, honestly, I may not be the best person to answer it. I do have nieces and nephews. My sister ended up putting her kids in homeschooling. My nephew is doing college right now, so he's actually going to be transitioning into a 4 year school from a 2 year program pretty soon. But my personal thing is, I went to a high school that was known as like the second worst in the system. And I went to class with there was a lot of racial mix, we can say. There's a lot of racial diversity. Hi there for people here. So definitely in my experience growing up, and maybe this was because this was the 80s, this was the 90s and things like that. But a lot of my teachers held you accountable. Like I remember that there was this one math teacher in my high school named Mr. Gray. I never had him, but to my understanding, he did have standards, but
Mhm.
people loved him.
How funny to even say something like that. I don't know personally, but as far as I know, he did have standards. I mean, that's what blows my mind. Like that, that's a surprising. Like that would be a wow. Oh, he's one of he has standards. And today, if he has standards, they leave. Like rate my professor.
Hmm.
I'm sure there are. I know there are people that use Rate My Professor specifically to find the easy A, and they don't care about accountability. They don't care about teachers that are actually going to teach them anything. What are your thoughts on AI in education now? Have you dealt with that at all?
I don't know that I've personally dealt with it. I'm totally novice to the whole thing at this point, but I know that it apparently hallucinates. I wouldn't suggest using that as a study aid and kind of not learning stuff yourself. I guess it's kind of like how GPS can kind of make you dumb when you're doing directions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from the era of you had to write down, okay, here's the landmark you're going to pass, or we're getting like MapQuest and things like that for directions. Like I know how to do this from reading a map. So I'm like, I honestly prefer to do that and kind of like, okay, I'm familiar with going down this highway. I'm familiar with this particular exit rather than relying on GPS so much because when you just rely on GPS, it's like, okay, your mind is just looking at the GPS. You're not really focused on absorbing that direction, absorbing your environment.
Mm-hmm. I
Like now you
remember
remember
a few years ago there was a guy that was following the GPS at night, and it took him right over a bridge that was no longer there, and he died.
the.
And because people are just relying blindly on GPS, and I think your analogy is right with AI. I think people are just it's weird. You when you ask Google prior to AI, or you ask Bing, it would take you to search results. And so you sort of knew that a human was compiling these websites, and maybe they're correct, maybe they're not. But people with the AI, they're just assuming they're speaking to something intelligent and a fount of correct knowledge. And you're right, yeah, it hallucinates. Horrible. I just saw this lawsuit that was filed against Chat OpenAI. I don't know if you've been following that. The Chat GPT. This youngster around 15 years old was using
Mhm.
Chat GPT for talking to him as a counselor, and kept talking about suicide and I don't want to live and this and eventually it decided to start coaching him on how to kill himself.
Yeah,
And
read
it taught
about
him
that.
how to create a noose, and he took a picture of the noose and fed it to ChatGPT, again allegedly from the lawsuit that's public. and what the parents are saying, and saying that, oh, that news is really good, blah 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 blah. And I mean, that is just bonkers. That is just crazy. That, and I just imagine if that's happening there, what is it doing with? Uh, Supposedly it's got safeguards, but this is the whole problem with like iRobot. And
Yeah.
what is the AI going to just end up taking over and going? Yeah, we got safeguards. We got safeguards. Yep. There's always seems to be an anomaly. There always seems to be some error somewhere. Do you does this fear of AI in the future and robots? Does that how do you take that?
Man, I'm definitely like, okay, that seems like the biggest sycophant you could possibly have would be AI. There's certain things we don't want to use it for. I think mental health is a prime example right there. I know judges have basically been like, no, you cannot use that to argue a case. I've read in lawyer groups about lawyers saying that their clients have said, oh, you should use AI to do your work. Why aren't you writing this with AI? And I'm like, okay, no, a lawyer has to be able to think and a lawyer has to push back sometimes. They're not supposed to be like, yes, yes, go do that. And AI is kind of like, yes, yes, go do that. It's like a big sycophant.
Yeah, it's I often found I sometimes have used ChatGPT or Grok or Copilot. I use I use different ones, and I do ask for some advice here and there, and I have to oftentimes say it. Give me the opposing argument. Tell me, because you're right. It kind of just pushes an agenda. It kind of thinks, I think I know where this guy is going. I think I know what he wants. So I'm going to give him encouragement to help him get there even further. CLVR says, have you heard about Roblox using AI for their moderation? I haven't. I haven't. Now that's not a bad idea, because I think to some extent, I mean, YouTube has already been using moderated tools. Like, just a lot of times it says your comment has been moderated by YouTube automatically. So I mean, they've been kind of doing that already. I think that's a little bit safer using it for moderation, because the worst case is that they remove a comment that shouldn't have been removed. And I think that the danger is with these free form AIs, where you can talk to it about anything, Chance. You could talk to it about anything, and we're trusting that it's going to give the right answer. And honestly, even people don't have the right answer. So how the heck are we going to trust AI to give us the right answers?
Yeah, I think it honestly depends on who's the person programming that AI and what purpose is it being used. Like I know that with Roblox, that's something where you have a lot of kids there. Like my niece and my nephew are huge fans of that. So yeah, we don't want to have child molesters, things like that, saying, "Hey kid, come see me. Here's this gift. Here's all that." So yeah, I think there needs to be some screening for things like that. That's for sure.
CLVR says, well, a YouTuber got permanently perm banned for catching that, and they're calling him. That doesn't make any sense. Why?
No.
I'd have to look into more of that. Do you have the name of who that was? I'd love to read up on the story of what happened there. And uh, all right, new topic. You want to come up with the topic? If not, I can keep coming up with
Let's
topic.
see. So I actually got approved for the SCORE program in New York, and I actually had a meeting with a SCORE mentor today, which
So
I
tell
finally.
everybody what that is.
So SEEP is the self-employment assistance program. So basically, some people who are on unemployment, apparently, if you've been in the market a long time or unemployment feels like you might run out of benefits before you find another job, there's a program called SEEP, which basically helps somebody get their own small business started. Which honestly, I wish I had known about that resource a little while ago because I'm also a first generation business owner at this point. So basically, it's to help people set up their own small business. So, what I did is part of the requirement before you can participate in this, first off, you have to be invited. I got an
Mhm.
invite letter saying you're eligible to apply for SEEP. So then the second part is you apply for SEEP, you have to have a business idea. You kind of have to have a concept of what are you doing because they don't give you funding, they don't give you a time to come up with an idea. You already kind of have to have that.
Okay.
So there's multiple things I have done. You're not automatically going to get SEEP. You can't use it to expand a business. You can't use it if you already were a partner in a business another time. But I ended up getting approved for mine to do an entertainment empire. And I explained that, yes, I was a partner in a film company before, but I did not do development. I did not create the content. All I did was the legal stuff.
Hmm.
So many people would probably say, "Oh, you're a lawyer. Why don't you just try to start a law firm?" I've had people ask me this for years. I'm like, that's not the thing that brings me joy, though. It just doesn't.
Yeah, I can relate. I can relate. So
Hey,
what?
man,
What?
I've seen
So
so
what?
many.
What? Have you been formally accepted?
I was.
So what? What? And you're the businesses you're going to create a media business for your. Is this related to a podcast or is this something about film or what are you talking? What are you thinking?
So basically, my thought is, why not create an entertainment empire? So Tyler Perry basically started out doing theater plays, and he decided to essentially create this whole entertainment empire. So he has Tyler Perry Studios. He
Hmm.
has projects in the film space. He has TV. He's done acting. He's done all these different things. And I thought, well, why can't I do that myself? I mean, I'm a multifaceted creative. I am an actress, singer, writer, model, blogger, podcast host, beauty ambassador for How to Be a Redhead. Another thing I do. Doing that about a year now, actually. I went to the H2 Bar event. They had a pop up event in Charlotte back in July. But my thought was, okay, why not have an empire where you start with this empire, but then you can have different branches related to different entertainment outlets? So there's media. I could probably figure out a way to put the podcast under that one, figure out modeling under that one, maybe even creating a modeling agency later on. Things like, having a platform for writers, things like that. I feel like you could do a lot of things with an entertainment empire, that you could expand the space, that basically you could have an atmosphere where you could bring in people that have been ignored by the traditional industry, people who haven't had money, people who've kind of been on the outside, as I have in a lot of ways and a lot of things that I've done.
This
That's
sounds.
kind of the general
Do
concept.
you have a name for it yet or not yet?
I have a couple of names I've thought of. So
Okay.
I have a whole list.
Okay. So you're still at the preliminary stages then.
Yeah, so I haven't necessarily formulated it to paper quite so much. It's gotten a little more clear, but I thought, you know what? I'm going to do that. I've been involved with companies for 10 years. I know what not to do. I know the things you need in order to do it right. And I was kind of
This.
influenced by the last company I worked at where I was general counsel, and they were a media company, but they had three different branches. They had a photography branch, they had a film company branch, and they were developing a theater branch.
Mm, okay. So
Yep.
well, this is cool. I'm excited to hear more about that and hear your uh, trials and tribulations. I hope not a lot of trials and tribulations and a lot of just success and and barrier breaking.
Yeah.
That that
So
sounds good. Now you still live in you still live do you live in Manhattan or do you live in Brooklyn or
I live in
Queens?
Queens.
Queens.
Yep.
Okay. Do you ride the subway often?
On occasion, like basically because I've been working more remotely lately, I haven't been out as much, but I did go. I actually took the bus to go to Ridgewood because I had to go do a virtual appearance a couple of days ago. So the nonprofit I'm working with is located there. So I was taking the bus to do a virtual appearance for some clients. So that was very nice.
Do you find that do you feel safe do you feel that there's I mean I'm down here in Florida now and all I keep reading about are people getting murdered, people getting pushed in front of subway cars, people getting knifed. Do you find that the city has deteriorated in the last 10 years?
So I actually, well, I had a brief involvement with this guy who was a lieutenant. And he said to me, actually, the city is safer than what the news is telling you. But honestly, from my personal vantage, it's like I've lived in major cities for a very long time. So I'm always on alert and I'm always aware and things like that. So I try not to go around with like, oh, I'm scared. And I always try to make sure I look like I know where I'm going, what I'm doing, kind of get no nonsense. I certainly have my own mace. I have a little stun gun keychain. Certainly have my weapons and things like that because I'm sorry, I'm going to use my self defense rights. I did also take Introduction to American Jiu Jitsu years back. I took women's self defense. In fact, I would encourage any woman to do that whatsoever. You should. It's a good idea. So I kind of feel like, okay, if somebody messes with me, I am going to hit back. I am going to be nasty. I will do what I have to do.
Do you walk holding the mace, like, or are very very assertive, or is like how quickly would it take for you to get to the can of mace or to the stun gun?
I can basically pull it out of my purse.
Okay. Now you can't have mace or maybe you can. I know you can't have pepper spray shipped to you in New York City. Can you? How did you get the pepper? How did you get the mace?
You can buy it in New York as long as you fill out a form saying that you haven't been convicted of a felony and you're over 18, which in my case, yeah, that's true. I'm an attorney, okay? They won't let me practice.
Interesting. Now, but mace is different than pepper spray. Am I correct?
I'm not entirely sure. It might be difference in concentration, but the one I got apparently also has a dye component. So I think if you spray it with you spray someone with it, there might
Cool.
be too.
So you'd be able to identify them later.
Yeah, I think you'd be able to tell, like, yeah, you did something to tick somebody off.
Interesting. Okay. And have you ever had to use the mace or the stun gun, or you've been good?
I have not had to. I've demonstrated before. And I'll tell you that little stun gun thing, like when they hear the noise, it kind of scares people in general.
Do you? Oh, actually, no. I was going to say, do you have it here? Can you, but maybe that's a violation if we show that on camera. Now is that now? Where did you get that? Did you buy that at the same place where you got the mace?
Actually, I bought that online. Like there was a website that said, yes, we're allowed to ship this to New York. So I was like, okay, if they're allowed to do that and I can get it, I did end up buying that a little while ago because I do feel like I look as I look. So I'm not going to basically take chances. Plus, I do remember the guidance of a guy that I dated many years ago, and he said that if you see somebody who's attractive, you should assume that she's armed because she's probably going to have
Ah,
it all the time.
so that means I've got 6 machine guns on me at all time because
Yeah, if
I am.
somebody's attractive,
Oh
they're probably
yeah,
going
I'm
to
a
grab
I'm
it.
an 11 out of 10. Come on, Monica, come on. That's why these people watch me. They think they watch me for my intelligence or for what I have to say. It's clearly because I am a good looker, right? CLVR, right? So that's very interesting. That's interesting. What have you been hearing about Zoran Mamdani, who looks like he's the shoe in to potentially be the next mayor? Is it? Do you think he will win? Number one, and number two, if he does win, do you think New Yorkers have to worry?
So I think it's certainly possible. I can't say for certain because I definitely would not vote Cuomo at all. I know who I'm voting for. Personally, I'm voting Silwa. I voted Silwa before. I am an independent anyway, but I'm like, yeah, we need sanity. That's kind of how my vote is. And I think he's absolutely right in saying, yes, at least I didn't kill anybody's grandmother and didn't, and I'm not a sex pest, didn't harass anybody. So he's got that going for him. And he didn't take bribes from the Turkish government. So that's a plus for him. And yeah, his policy actually would benefit me if he's stabilizing rent for the rent stabilized apartments. That actually would benefit me. But I don't know. Part of me kind of feels like, okay, if he did win, it would teach some of the crazy leftists a lesson, and I would kind of like to see that happen.
Well, let me interrupt. Why would it teach crazy leftists a lesson? It would teach them a lesson that they can win, right? Hi, Angel.
I feel like it would teach the lesson of maybe socialism is not such a good idea, and there's a point where it's
Oh,
going
oh,
too
oh, oh, oh.
far.
You're not talking about his victory. You're talking about the results of his implemented policies.
Yes.
Yeah, so I've been reading about that a lot. That a lot of people are on the Republican side. I would say like the Republicans that are not in New York City are saying, "Let him win because it'll show," as you just said, it'll show
Yeah.
people what socialism really is. On the other hand, I think the people in New York City are going, "No, we can't afford to allow our city to fall any further." And do you think Curtis Sliwa has a shot?
I don't know. I mean, I don't hold too much stock in the media saying all this stuff. I know the media can be kind of propaganda and all that. So, I mean, look at what happened before 2017. They were basically like, oh, Queen Hillary's a shoe in, Queen Hillary's a shoe in. And then it didn't happen that way. And I think they were pushing kind of hard for Harris last time, too. And it was like, no, Trump won. And there were people that they didn't think would vote for Trump, voted for Trump. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, they were looking at the sanity vote like everybody else. Like, I mean, I worked at this pro se asylum clinic. I had opportunity to meet quite a few people. I met a lot of people who were Muslims. I spoke with the interpreters and things like that. So I'm like, personally, my issue with Mandami has nothing to do with religion, because a
Hmm.
lot of the Muslim people I met were very nice people. I never had a grievance with them, never troubled me at all. I'm like, it's the whole being too left. That's my gripe there. But some people, they
Yeah.
have to touch that hot stove themselves. Some people do not learn unless it's the hard way.
I feel like, again, going back to our, hold on a second, my cord was all mixed up. Our education system has become so poor, going back to what we were talking about in the beginning,
Mhm.
that so many young people today actually think communism, socialism is the path for America. And like that would solve all the problems. It's like, you have no idea. If you think it's bad now under faulty capitalism, and we admit capitalism is not perfect either, but it's certainly better than socialism and redistributing of wealth and getting rid of private property and removing the incentive for anybody to try to work hard, because then they can't, there's no, why work hard if you can't get ahead? And even China doesn't have full on socialism, communism. I mean, at least for now, you can work hard and move up the ladder. But I mean, what a lot of these socialists want is, it's boom, it's even across the board. Take from the rich, give to the poor, and then eventually there's no more. That's the thing. We're talking about Memdani. Like under De Blasio and Adams, so many wealthy New Yorkers have already left New
Mhm.
York City. Who's Mamdani going to tax? They're all they're all leaving.
Yeah, and I think that might happen. That might happen even further. But I'm like, okay, why aren't you backing Silla? Back Silla. That's like my whole thing. I'm like, okay, why the heck aren't you backing him? He's apparently also for helping rescue organizations. Apparently, he is pro helping animals that are abandoned, like taking care of like cat rescues, dog rescues, things like that. I'm like, no, we need to be backing that guy. What has anybody else said about that? I've heard not a peep.
Yeah, it's. Oh. Here's the other thing that annoys me too. So everything I'm doing is dropping. My phone cord is causing problems. My cap on my drink is.
I want to know how many Republican, how many, are there enough Republicans in New York and or moderates to vote a Republican into office again? The last mayor in New York City was Giuliani. That was in the mid '90s and early 2000, because obviously he was America's mayor in on September 11th. Clearly, he won. He beat the Democrat candidate. I don't understand what why don't we have, where are those people? And have they all moved away out of New York City? Have they all literally been pushed out of New York City, that there is no hope for a Republican mayor? I don't know.
I don't either, to be honest. Like, I mean, at least when I've had conversations with some people, and I feel like when I talk to people in real life, it's a little different. That some people totally get of like, yeah, that ain't smart. We don't need to back like the leftist people. They're crazy. But apparently, I found myself being a bit of a rarity in the dating market, because I've had guys talk to me and they're like, we're more conservative. But then I think there's a lot of closeted and like silent majority and kind of closeted, more conservative people, more moderate people who are like, no, we're not for that.
Hmm.
So I just kind of feel like some people, they're never going to change anything unless it personally affects them or like their relatives.
I also feel like, again, it doesn't matter who you talk to, it matters who goes to the voting booth. And so I don't know if there's so many people who just feel there's no, my vote doesn't count in New York City. Why should I go vote? It's not going to have any impact, so I won't go. And then someone like my Danny gets elected. Um, Although I did see recently he's pulling away from all of his Democrat Socialist of America campaign promises, and everyone keeps asking him, "Do you want to abolish the police? Do you want to abolish private property? Do you want to get rid of criminalization and arrests for misdemeanors, and his thing is no comment, no comment. No, that's not my platform. But it was for like 8 years, and suddenly you're, and they were saying that he's just being coy for 2 more months because that's all he needs. 2.5 months. Just don't say anything stupid for 2.5 months, and then sail into office, and then drop the hammer, and bring hell onto Times Square. When was the last time you were in Times Square?
Let's see. Probably back when I was working at the asylum clinic. So I don't know that I've been there super, super recently. Probably a few months back.
Yeah, I was thinking. The last time I was in New York was the last time I was there. That was in, I think it was, yeah. Was that August of 2024? Yeah, it was. Oh my gosh, has it been a year since I've been to New York? Oh no. I remember there was last year. Do you remember last year there was like 3 days when it was super cold in New York City? And it was like 10 degrees. And it was like a big cold snap. And I remembered I was looking on the news and I heard about it, and I flew up to New York, and I stayed in New York for 3 days during that um, uh, that frigid weather. And I remember I stayed at a hostel up on the Upper West Side, and there was a place called Mimi's Pizza. Do you know Mimi's Pizza?
No.
Oh, and I did a live stream from there actually at the same time. And this was back when I used to have like 30, 40, 50, 60 people watching me at one time. I don't know the algorithm. I'm sure you've heard about it. The notorious algorithm. Back
Yeah.
when I was a big YouTube star, Monica. Now I'm back to being a wannabe. The the pizza, it tasted just like this pizza at in White Plains. Have you ever been to White Plains?
I've been to White Plains, yeah.
You haven't been to Famous Familia in White Plains, have you? Per chance?
Probably not. Like I haven't. I've been to court there a lot
Oh,
because I've done
okay.
a lot of the appearances.
Oh, Angel was on the live stream. She goes, I remember that. Yeah. So, and I was thinking like, oh my gosh, this tastes so similar to Famous Familia pizza, which is my favorite pizza in the world. And just talking about it is making me realize I need to get on a plane and get up to Famous Familia. But that's another story. I ended up going back to Famous Familia and telling him about. He goes, "You said, are you talking about Mimi's?" He goes, "Yeah, that's owned by my uncle."
Oh wow.
So the flavor of pizza was the same because it's literally the same family's pizza. Hi Benny. Oh, we got some. Benny, what are you talking about? Strange comments.
I don't like slut shaming. I have a thing about that. I look as I look. I'm not some frumpy, boring ass lawyer. Thank you very much.
No,
I'm actually wearing. I was
you
wearing
just
a
need to
sweater.
ignore these people. These people. I'm surprised nobody has given me a bunch of insults yet. So the fact that the first insults we got are 33 minutes into the live stream is
Yeah.
pretty decent. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out if I want to stay down here in Florida or if I want to come back to New York or I was actually in Charlotte about 3 weeks ago. I visited Charlotte, Asheville, and
Mhm.
Knoxville, trying to find places to move to because I'm not super happy in South Beach and Miami Beach. And of all the cities, Knoxville was the nicest. Have you been there?
I haven't been to Knoxville, but my family lives about an hour away from Charlotte. So I was there for, as I said, the H2 Bar pop up event. And they actually had it at a venue that is owned by two people I went to school with, which I thought was kind of cool.
You were born in Charlotte, in North Carolina?
I was born in Winston-Salem.
And you've never driven to Knoxville, Tennessee?
No, no.
Have you ever been to Tennessee?
I went to Nashville.
How funny. Isn't it weird? Like the fact that I never went to the Statue of Liberty until I was, I think, 22 years old. And I'd lived in New York my whole life. Have you been to the Statue of Liberty?
I still haven't been.
Ah! So I think, well, that Yeah, you live right close to Knoxville. You don't visit that. You're right next to the. Well, you do me a favor. This is one of your goals for September,
Okay.
and it's very low cost too. You're going to take the subway down to Battery Park,
Hmm.
and then get out at Battery Park, and I think it's a free transfer to get onto the Staten Island ferry.
Hmm.
And have you been on the Staten Island ferry before?
Yeah, quite a few times. I actually
Oh,
did a
all right. So
fashion
you have
show
seen
over there.
the Statue of Liberty. You've gotten kind of close
Yeah.
to it. Okay, well, never mind then. I was gonna get you a free visit to the Statue of Liberty without actually going to Roosevelt Island. And so, what's something else going on in your life? What else? What else is or another topic? Whatever. Is there anything that's of
Let's see.
interest or?
So let's see. I can definitely discuss my cats. They're very interesting. I'm surprised my cat Coral has not shown up because she does that sometimes.
How many cats do you have?
I have two.
Two cats. So one cat is named Coral, and what's the other one?
Tsunami.
Nami.
Tsunami. I did not name them. I got them from a rescue and they were found near water. So they were named Coral and Tsunami. I think they had a sibling named Aqua and they had some other siblings,
Oh,
but
not Nami.
Coral and
It's
Tsunami.
Tsunami.
Hmm.
I thought you said Nami.
No, Tsunami.
Oh. Now, speaking of tsunami, which reminds me of Japan, South Korea, I just saw on the news that Netflix, the number one film of all time now on Netflix, is this animated Korean American film called K-pop Demon Hunters.
Oh, really?
And have you heard about it?
Mm-mm.
No. I started watching. I'm like 20 minutes into it. Apparently, it's so successful, but now that they're doing releases into the movie theater,
Hmm.
which is very, very, and apparently it's doing so well at the movie theater that it's becoming like a number one box office hit for Netflix, and it was never intended to be uh, a theater film. It was always meant to be. Angel, you heard about it, huh? And apparently it's not even in Korea, and everybody in Korea has heard so much about it, and they're like, why is everyone else in other countries getting to see it in the movie theater, but Spicy says Unk has insatiable game. Spicy Noodles, I have no idea why you're talking about. I understand why Angel calls me uncle, because she just does. But Spicy Noodles, why are you calling me Unk? Do you have permission to call me Unk? Oh, speaking of calling uncle, the Prime Minister of Thailand, did you hear about the story?
I don't think so.
So just today, the Prime Minister of Thailand was removed by their Supreme Court
Oh, really?
for ethics violations because this is a funny story. It's sort of like it could be a sitcom. So first of all, just the fact that it's the eighth prime minister removed by the Supreme Court in Thailand in 10 years.
Hmm.
So they have a prime minister problem. She, very beautiful Thai woman, young too. I guess she looks like she's in her mid 30s or so, or early 30s or so, like not an older stateswoman or anything. She got brought up in these ethics charges because somebody leaked a conversation that she had with the prime minister or whatever of Malaysia, or I think it was Malaysia, calling him Unk. What's up, Uncle? Like calling him like I guess that shows like it's too casual. That should be calling the head of state of another country Uncle. And also disparaging the Thai military. And no, excuse me. Thailand and Malaysia are in a battle, a military battle. So it was somebody else, like another head of state of a major country. I don't know which one it was. And then I'm reading more and more and more. Guess who turned her in?
Who?
The head of the country that she was talking to.
Oh,
That
man.
same guy actually took that and said, "Hey, she's calling me uncle, and she's disparaging the Thai military." Let me hold on. Can I? Can you look? Do you have? I don't have a. Do I have a? I'm looking at my other phone here. Let me see if I can just search. I really want to find it because it. Let me search top stories today. Top stories. Or anything about? I'm really determined to find this story right here. Not top stories today. We're going to search for Thailand. Thailand.
Let's get my.
And which one is it here? Where's the news? Thailand. Can anyone else find it? Here. Thai PM. Leaked phone call. There we go. Oh, Thai court removes prime minister over leaked phone call with Cambodian leader.
Ah.
So it was the head of Cambodia. That's who she was having the phone call with, and that was who leaked the phone call. That's just fascinating. Like what was going through? Like, why would he do that? Going, maybe like I really dislike her, so I'm going to leak this. But it seems like their conversation was very. Oh, unless she called him uncle, thinking they were casual friendly, and he was like, no, no, no.
Yeah.
I am not your friend like that. Spicy Noodles says, "Unk is a term of respect for someone a generation or two
Yeah.
ahead of you." So I'm 2 generations ahead of Angel and Spicy Noodles. So you better call my guest Auntie. How come you don't call her Auntie? You're just calling me Unk.
Yeah, I am Auntie. I have two nieces, 2 nephews. In fact, I made sure I took my niece with red hair to the pop-up event. I got my other red-haired relatives over there. That was
Are
one
you
of the reasons.
Irish?
I have no specific direct knowledge. Like my maiden name was Bowen, and my mother's maiden name was Edwards, and my father's maiden name was Gibson, and I was told all 3 of those are English.
They sound English.
Yeah, one of my friends that I had is like, "You look like you could be English royalty." Says this to me years ago.
Interesting. And are your your nieces and nephews? Do they have red hair?
My oldest niece does. The other kids do not.
Okay. All right. So Spicy and Angel have decided that you are now Auntie.
Okay.
Hello. Hi. I'm Uncle Monroe, and this is Auntie Monica, and today we are talking about various topics. Various topics. I still remember. I think the last time we saw each other was in Bryant Park when we met up.
Yeah.
That day. Was it
Yeah.
hot out or was it springtime out?
I think it was summer. Yeah, I think it was summer.
It was summer. Boy, I you know that song, don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone. Like, I remember that, and it was just a normal day for me in New York City, and I go to Bryant Park, and I don't know why we met up. Did I come into the city just to meet you?
I think there were a couple of other people there. You were having like a group session or something. I think we were like having a discussion
No,
about
that
like
wasn't no,
goals
that
and
wasn't
plan
the only
setting, I
time. The
think.
last time was, I think it was just you and me.
Oh
Because
yeah.
it was
Yeah,
when you
that is
told me
possible
about
too. Yeah.
Sophie.
Yeah, yeah.
And Sophie
I,
is not a girl, it's the name of a financial app. Or SoFi, I
yeah.
guess.
So far.
SoFi. I was just saying, it's funny. It's like now the thought of me in Bryant Park on a summer day or a spring day, it seems like another lifetime ago. I can't even imagine my life again, uh, being there. Now all I do is look back. I just did a short saying, don't you got to live in day tight compartments. Don't live in the past. To, seal that door off. Don't think about the future. Seal that door off and just live today. But right now, today we're talking about Bryant Park, so I guess I'm doing it. But I miss those days. I miss coming into New York City. It's like just the thought of meeting you in New York City is like, oh wow, great to see Monica in New York City. Alas, I'm stuck in South Beach.
Although, meanwhile, it's like a lot of people have left New York. Like, so many people I know left New York and they're like, I'm going to Florida. And I'm like, okay, I think Florida's like the promised land, except you can't transfer a law license there.
No, that's one of my problems here is that the only job that I could do was an immigration attorney, and I did it for a year, and it wasn't love at first sight. And yet there's not a lot of entertainment law down here. There's not a lot of IP law. There's not a lot of law firms like that hiring. But I think the biggest thing for me is just the heat. I don't know. I thought moving down here, I thought finally I don't have to deal with those New York winters anymore. And now I'm like, please, where is the New York winter? Where is the cold weather? Like my body does not, like right now I'm overheating, even though I have 2 air conditioners on. But
Oh, wow.
it's horrible out here, and it stays horrible until like end of October. And it's like, oh my gosh, then you only get like November, December, it starts to cool down a little bit, but it's still hot. It's only like January and February, you get 2 months of maybe it goes down to the mid 50s.
Oh,
But
wow.
I've applied to a bunch of federal jobs, and some of the locations they ask you to put where's your number one location, and for most of them I put New York. All things Alaska. Attorney shortage in Alaska. Come be a prosecutor. Crime is outrageous here. Cases are backlogged. The question is whether I can become an attorney in Alaska through reciprocity. I know I can in Charlotte, in Tennessee, and in North Carolina. I checked.
Yep.
Let me see. Do I have? No, I don't have AI on this phone here. It's easier to. I guess I can ask. Let me see. Alaska.
Good question.
Alaska attorney reciprocity. Let's see. All things Alaska. Admission on motion. Here we go. To be eligible. By the way, this is for all of you guys watching who are attorneys in other states and want to practice in Alaska, which is none of you. To be eligible for admission on motion in Alaska, the applicant must have engaged in illegal activities of a felony nature in one or more states. You must have served 6 years in a state prison. This is very strange. No, I'm just kidding. You must have engaged in the active practice of law in one or more states for 3 of the 5 preceding years. Check. Must have also passed the MPRE. Check. And meet other admission requirements. All applicants are subject to a determination of character and fitness. You and I are out, Monica. There's no hope. All right, so all things Alaska looks like we could become attorneys there, but can I apply from New York, from Florida? I think it'd be fun to live in Alaska for a few years. What were you gonna say?
My mom had a coworker at one of her jobs who moved to Alaska. So I don't know if she still has her as a Facebook friend, but she saw photographs of her life. I think like her husband had this job in one part of the state and they were living in a different one. So my mom was seeing all these pictures of like all these things going on and like what it's there. And she's like she was mentioning about, I think like the midnight sun, and that food costs a lot more. So you want to make sure somebody's paying you a decent amount of money because cost of living in Alaska is not cheap. And I'm
All
happy
things
to be
Alaska.
here. Thank you.
Do you work at the prosecutor's office? Do you have jobs for me and Monica? We will consider applying for admission to the Alaska bar. Angel says, and just a few hours ago, I was going to sneak an ice cream in the kitchen to eat them, and guess who caught me? Your brother's always looking out for you, Angel, because you probably had another ice cream earlier today. By the way, is there anyone who hasn't clicked like? Double click the screen. If we get to 10 likes, we get the good old bronze medal on the YouTube live stream Olympics. We must get to the 10 likes. Spicy Noodle says, Auntie looks intrigued. Auntie, we're glad to have you on our uncle's live stream.
Thank you.
All things Alaska. I'm not an attorney, just ran across your channel. Oh, is that why there are not a lot of people watching anymore? Because you ran over my channel? He just said he ran across my channel. Why did you do that? I should bring you up on charges of channel manslaughter. Maybe. Was it channel murder? Did you do it on purpose? Did you run across this channel? If it was by accident, maybe it's just channel slaughter. You plead the fifth. Wow. Wow. This is not a court of law, and pleading the fifth is not permitted here. You must answer questions from the live stream host, especially when 2 out of 3 of the viewers call him uncle. You studied criminal justice in community college. Very cool. Do you actually think? But All Things Alaska, I think you've been here before. Let me look at channel activity. No, first time you've been here. 1,500 subscribers. Very nice. You've got a decent. It's a good base. Very good job, All Things Alaska. Is your channel about Alaska? Is it about all things Alaska? I'm just guessing. That's a shot in the dark. Unk gets what Unk wants. That should be a bumper sticker, right? Unk gets what Unk wants. The only thing is, it hasn't been true for me. I have. If I got what I wanted, oh my gosh, there'd be. What would it be? I'd be making $250,000 a year. I would have round the clock help with my mom. I would have, it is kind of nice down here, but I'd have places in New York and Florida and Paris and Shanghai and Florence, Italy. How about this? If you could pick 5 places where you could buy a home. So you get a two bedroom in 5 cities. So the 5 for me would be New York, Paris, Florence, Shanghai, and London, I would say. Where would you pick yours?
So probably LA.
Okay.
Certainly New York, because I live here. Always a good thing. Let's see. Probably, honestly, I wouldn't mind going to the UK. I've never visited, so probably London would be nice. And I was in Look magazine at one point, so yep.
Very cool. We're going to hear that story in a second, but first you got to give two more cities, I think.
Yep. So probably Charlotte, or actually, you know what? Probably Wilmington, because then I'd be near the beach, and my family lives in North Carolina.
Okay.
And it wouldn't be them breathing down my neck. Then a last one, that would be a good question, because then I'm like thinking, okay, where could I go? And I know enough of the language and things like that, and where have I traveled? Maybe somewhere, maybe like a Boise or something like that, like somewhere on the West Coast. I've never been to Idaho.
Okay. So you're just gonna buy a 2-bedroom in Boise?
Maybe somewhere like that, or like someplace. Because I remember going on a road trip with my friend Cassie in 2019. It was the first time I ever got to see the desert. So that was kind of cool. We went through Arizona. I think we went through New Mexico, but I hadn't been to those states before. So I was like, I've not done that. And I've never even been to Vegas. There's like so many places I haven't been. I went to Paris once. That was 2021.
You haven't been to Vegas yet?
I've never been to Vegas, even though I have a friend who lives there.
Okay, interesting. Hi, Plates. Plates, we need a like from you, because Spicy Noodle says we're at 10 likes, but for me and Monica, how many likes does it show at you? It doesn't show 10, does it?
I see 9.
Yeah, I don't know why. There's always a discrepancy. The viewers get one more than the hosts do. So for some reason, there we go. Now we're at 10 likes. Huzzah! We got the bronze medal on the YouTube live stream Olympics. Athena, welcome back. Good to have you here. Good to have you in the shop. And Plates, if you give us another like, we'll get to 11. Hey,
all
11 likes.
All
now things are starting to rock and roll. All right, for All Things Alaska, the top, McCall, Idaho, 100 miles north of Boise. It's the Tahoe of Idaho. Lived there many years. You live there now? In McCall, Idaho? Now we're 13 likes? Where did those other 2 likes just randomly come from?
There we go.
McCall, Idaho. If it's the Tahoe of Idaho, it must be on a lake. What's the name of the lake? Because it's not Lake Tahoe, is it? Oh wait, is Lake Tahoe in Idaho? No, it's in Vegas. It's in Nevada and California.
Nevada.
Yeah. So, Spicy Noodles. I used to live there. You're in Alaska. Pyatt Lake. Let me write it down. I love lakes. Let me find Pyatt. Pyatt Lake. Let's just add that. Pyatt. Pyatt Lake. Have you been to a lake recently?
Let's see. No, I think I've just been to the water in like New York. Like I remember I went to, I think it was like Pier 57. I went to a meeting for that, and it was literally like my day off from work that I
Oh,
got
is
to
this
claim
that?
before I
Is that
got laid
that? Is
off.
that new beach that they have on the west side? Did you hear about that?
Let's see, like, what was it?
It's like it's like on like a pier. It's like near Chelsea Piers or something like that. And there's like a sandy beach that you can lay out on.
I know there was like the park part. I've been to that.
Yeah, it's like a park and
Little
there's sand
Island, I think.
and there's sand
Little
on it.
Island, I think. I don't know that it has sands.
Oh, so then you should try that. I'd love you to go there. And why am I frozen? I think because someone's leaving me a voicemail. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Where is that? Hold
Hey.
on. Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You can't see me. What is wrong with this thing? It's because some stupid 800 number is leaving me.
Man, I've been getting a lot of those where it says scam likely, but I've had all these weird area codes, and then it says you've been pre-approved for a loan, and here's the payment terms we're going to give you. And I'm just like, no, stop calling, block the number, block
Oh,
it, spam, stop
stay.
it.
I have to leave for 1 second. You stay here. I'll be. And when I come back, the phone will work. I have to reset the camera.
Okay.
So hang tight.
Okay. All right. Looks like I'm here. So, anyhow, well, let's see. So, in New York, it's actually been in the 70s right now. So, it's actually finally not being so blazing hot. I literally, hello, there we are. Nice. So, finally, it's not been so blazing hot here. So, I'm like, finally, I can actually cook again.
Stop bragging and reminding me that I am in this tropical hellhole. You can look. You can look at my forehead and see how glistening it is.
But you probably have central air where you are. Like around here, you know how it is. You go anywhere else. Like in the South, there's always booming central AC anywhere you go. Here, forget it.
But it doesn't matter, no matter how. That is true. Sometimes you'll go into places in New York and the air conditioner's not even working at all. But I kind of like that about New York City. I like the fact that I miss the fact that Grand Central used to have, and the subways used to have no air conditioning on the platforms. Now they have air conditioning on the platforms, and I kind of miss the good old days when you when the door would open, it would hit like, and it would hit Legionnaire's disease. Who has Legionnaire's disease? Do I have Legionnaire's disease?
Oh, I heard about there being an outbreak actually where I used to live at one point, but fortunately I didn't get it.
Hmm. Hope not. Hope it
No,
not.
I'm always, there's like people up here who are like, oh no, what's the big deal about having AC? And I'm like, what's wrong with you, you heathen?
Oh, the swamp cooler disease. Yeah, I have. I think that's what I have. I have swamp disease. 100%. I can feel it. By the way, we need one more like. Double click the screen if you haven't. We got the silver medal on the YouTube live stream Olympics. I'm sure there's someone here who hasn't clicked like yet. And if you haven't, All Things Alaska, would love you to subscribe. Would love you to become part of the Roman Empire. My name is Monroe Mann.
Yeah.
It's not the uncle, like the uncle ears. It's not the uncle ears. You guys are members of the Roman Legion. And we're not not the Legionnaires. Speaking of that, no, it's not the Roman Legionnaires. No, that's bad. Yeah, so what was this about you being in Vogue magazine? What's the story about that?
Well, I was in a magazine. Yeah, I think it was actually Look magazine. So this actually happened not too long after my ex-husband decided to throw me out into the street back in 2014. I remember I was staying with this guy in the Lower East Side, and I got a phone call from an editor of the magazine, and she said, "We're doing a story on why women have chosen to be child free. Would you be interested?" So I'm like, "Yes, I would be interested in discussing that." And in retrospect, it seems like the smartest thing I did was to get voluntary sterilization to not have kids, because now I don't have to deal with the fact that I had children with my ex-husband. I can cut that man out, cut that family out like a bad habit. Don't have to
But
see
if
him
you
anymore.
had kids with him, you would love them.
I'd
She's
love
like,
the kids
I
to
don't
pity
know.
them.
I don't know. I don't think I would.
I would pity them having him as a father because he was an overgrown child and having to have his mother as a grandmother. That would be awful.
So are you glad that you don't have kids, or do you think you'd still want to have kids in the future?
Personally, I feel like my role is cool auntie. That is what I do. That is how I am going to make my difference in the world. I'm going to do my professional creative business stuff. I have cats, okay? I'm a cat mom. I got
Okay.
my sister's got 4 kids.
I want to adopt kids at some point. That would be cool.
Yeah, that is something if I were to change my mind, I would look into that because frankly, we don't need to deal with too much craziness and gene passing in my own family. We have enough of that.
The only thing is though, it's like I've always been saying, oh, I'm going to adopt kids once I'm really financially settled, and once I'm a millionaire, and blah, blah. And I'm realizing, Monroe, that day may never arrive. So I gotta start thinking, like, Monroe, do you want to adopt kids regardless of what you if you become a millionaire or not? It used to be a done, like a no brainer. Of course, I'm going to be a millionaire. Back in my 20s,
Hmm.
and then my 30s was like, I'm still probably going to become a millionaire. Now in my 40s, almost almost 50, I'm thinking, oh, it's less likely, still possible, but less likely that I could become a millionaire. How about you? What are your thoughts? Do you want to be a millionaire? Do you think it could happen? Are you working towards it?
I think my goal has been I want to have my financial security. I want to make sure that I've got this rent stabilized apartment. I'm like, I would like to get something else too, like have something owned, have my legacy feel like I'm making enough money in terms of my career and my value to the table. I feel
Mhm.
like I've not been there. And I think basically my goal is I want to do it ethically. I want to do it where I am comfortable with that and I am happy with it. So otherwise, it's like I don't per se have a figure, I guess, in my head, but I don't want to be a financial burden on people. I want to make sure I can have things taken care of. I'm not necessarily like, oh, I've got to have the most expensive, highest fancy fussiness kind of thing. But yeah, I want to have
To
the
not be a
basics and have
financial
enough.
burden on people, like I'm realizing now. I mean, you're going to need like $1 million by the time you are 75 years old. We, like you and me, people, because otherwise, I mean, otherwise, if for I mean, Social Security, is that going to be gone in the next 10 years? Supposedly, it's going to be bankrupt just around about 10 years before we're supposed to start getting, or no, not 10 years, like 20 years before. I think it's around 70 or so, 71, 72. So I'm 49, or no, I'm 49. I'm 47. Boy, 47, 57, 60. So it's like 25 years from now. If they're saying that Social Security is going to be bankrupt in like 2034, there's no hope for you or me. And they took all of that money out of our paychecks, and then we don't even get any of them benefits. Like, we're paying for everybody's Social Security now. Angry.
I figure I'll probably be dead by the time I'm in my 70s because most of the people in my family died kind of young. So I'm like, if I made it to 70, that would be an accomplishment in itself because there's very few people in my family that actually lived a really long time. Like, I had people die at all kinds of ages. I mean, my father was dead when he was 59. I had an aunt who had a brain aneurysm in her 20s. Let's see. Then I
Wow.
had, yeah, I've had a lot of people that basically by the time they were 70, they were dead. That's how my family's worked.
Interesting. So you've got about 50 years to go. Do you believe in God?
I believe in at least the concept of God as looking out for you in the spiritual aspect of that. I don't believe in the God that says, okay, gay marriage is wrong and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
or let's slut shame everybody. I don't believe in that version of God. I believe more in the version of
We're
looking out for you
we're
and
we're a very pro
listening and things
slut
like that.
shaming channel here on YouTube. Just so you know. So that was a joke.
Ah, I wasn't sure if you were pro or anti.
No, I don't even know what that means. When my mom and dad and brother told me a long time ago, never say never. That's right, Angel. You're gonna you're gonna find a cure for your medical issues. Never say never. I'm gonna become a multimillionaire. Never say never. And Monica's gonna live to be 97 years old.
Oh man. I mean,
Get
my
ready.
mom is still kicking, and she's in her 60s.
So hey, you never know. Never know. What do you think about the Big Bang? Because I mean, scientists have basically said that they believe that is how the world, the universe, whatever started, and then it's been expanding ever since, which means it must have started with something. So, do you believe that something is God?
Basically, I guess the easiest thing, I have the easiest solution, which basically, I believe the Big Bang evolution happened, but God just caused it.
That's what I feel.
That's
That's
all.
how I feel. Like the big, it does make sense, and it makes sense that the universe started, but everything has a start. Everything we're just talking about life and how long when you're born, when we're going to live, and then we're going to die. Well, same thing with the Earth. The Earth was born, it lives, and they've even put an expiration date on the sun. That in however many billions, hundreds of billions of years, the sun, or trillions, I'm not sure. I think it's billions. Sun's going to burn out, and as soon as it burns out, life on Earth is over. Or at least for humans, at least for most forms of life. I don't think anything could live without the sun and stuff. So yeah, it's very very strange. I wish I could have God as a guest on my YouTube live for 1 hour,
Mm.
and that would be a fascinating interview. If you had 1 hour to interview God, what would be the questions that you would want answered?
I think
Hmm.
definitely we would ask, okay, why, if God gives you babies, why are you giving babies to really scuzzo people? And what about all the bad and the horrible stuff that's going on? Like I was watching the Hurricane Katrina documentary yesterday on Netflix. Apparently it's now
Hmm.
ranked number 1 at the moment.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so it was definitely very interesting. They went into the story and a lot of these people that just lost their community in a flash and had talked about, well, we rode out storms before, so we weren't really used to just, oh, let's ride it out, let's get out of town.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be interesting to say, okay, what about all these poor people that lost everything and they had all this stuff happened at the Superdome? And I thought, you know what, if we're going to talk about reparations for somebody, you can make an argument for that. I'm like, let's give those people reparations. Okay. They dealt with some crap.
Hey, we got 15 likes. We got the silver medal on the
Woo.
live stream Olympics. Huzzah! So we're at 16 actually right now. Thank you
Yeah,
for that.
that's what I saw.
Julie Mumford, Clover Connor. Good to have the two of you in the house here. Great to see you all. By the way, Julie, I made the post. I don't know if you saw it with your book recommendations. All things I would ask
That's a good
why
one.
those were created. Yeah.
That's a good one.
My discrepancy with God and this and that is like I hear all the time, and I always used to believe that everything happens for the reason, and 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 God is in control and this and that. Well, why did those two children have to die in that school shooting that just happened a few days ago in Minnesota? I think it was in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and it's like, how is that part of God's plan? How is that for the best, for their best? I mean, maybe you could argue that, yeah, because now they don't have to live through this very difficult life. and maybe they're up in heaven now. And that Billy Joel song, "Only the Good Die Young." I don't know. Maybe there's something about the afterlife that we don't know about, that it really is a blessing to die young. Or like, what are these kids with childhood cancer? I was think, God, that's tough. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of things that are very confusing for me. Julie says, because this is Satan's world, we live in a fallen world. Oh yeah.
No truer
And
world
Miss
today.
T is back too. My gosh, all the old crew. 3 people from the old crew are back. Miss T, Julie Mumford, and Clover Connor. Good to see the three of you. What did you say, Monica?
Ah. No truer words uttered. Like we live in a fallen world. Not, no, even especially today. It seems like no truer words have been uttered.
Miss T says life is a mystery. Why are you trying to understand it? Faith. But it's so confusing, it's hard to have faith sometimes. And I think people that have faith are able to like, when life is an absolute chaos. Like, in the last 10 years of my life have been an absolute chaos. My faith has been I've been like Job in the Bible. Do you know the story of Job, Monica?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm Job, but there's never a resolution. At least Job had a resolution. And then people would tell me, Monroe, you're just in the middle of your Job story. Hold on. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next year, maybe as soon as I hang up this live stream. The truth is, I mean, things could turn around for me in a moment. And all of a sudden, I've got someone who come into my life who's going to help me with my mom. Suddenly, financial issues are over, and I'm a multimillionaire. I mean, it could happen. So I've applied to a bunch of grants for brake diving. Maybe one of them finally comes through. Who the heck knows? But it's hard to have faith when you're. How do you keep your faith?
God, I'll tell you, definitely working in that last job and dealing with some of the immigration stuff I've worked with, that's helped me. And even just thinking about what happened to me 3 years ago, where I literally had to leave my last apartment and I was staying with a total stranger who was living in the Upper East Side. He was like on the top floor. I think he's like on one of the top floors, and he lived like off 83rd Street.
Mm-hmm.
Had this wonderful city view when you looked out his window. I actually took a photo of that, and that was my wallpaper on my Zoom. So I thought to myself, okay, 3 years ago, you didn't have any access to your stuff. You didn't have these cats. You didn't have this apartment. You didn't have anybody helping you. You were going through like the worst rental market in 8 years in New York. And I literally needed a new place to live. I
Mm-hmm.
was dealing with my last employer saying, oh, we're going to pay you. We're going to pay you. But oh, our accounts were hacked by the dark web. So we don't have any money. There's a whole big thing of like, oh, I don't know what in the world I'm going to do. How is this going to turn out? What's going to happen? But I did have a safe place to live, to sleep. And this guy let me stay with him. I did eventually find that broker. I found that place to live. I got in this rent stabilized apartment, and my mom said, you know what? God gave you that apartment. I don't think God's going to take it away from you in 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And I encountered so many people at the clinic I worked at who literally came to this country, were staying in the migrant shelters, had nothing, didn't even really know English. And they're over here trying to do their asylum applications. And some of them even had horrible stuff happen. Like I hated when I
Mm-hmm.
had to give bad news when the court said, okay, you've been marked for removal, or you've had something bad happen, or they had legal counsel and we couldn't help them that day. And I remember I did say to people, there are good people that exist, even in New York City, where
Mm-hmm.
you feel like oftentimes there are no good people here. I'm like, good people live here, good people exist. And I lived that firsthand. Like I saw people helped me out who were complete strangers. I could have easily ended up in a homeless shelter somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And people said to me, if you stay in a New York homeless shelter, you're going to be dead. So don't do that. And I thought, no, I will talk to my mom. She's not going to allow that. But I was at a point, especially in 2014, that was even worse in my life. Like I had no idea what the hell I was going to do. And even if all else had failed, when I went to the police station, when I had to leave my last situation 3 years ago, I was in the ladies' room, and this lady approached me and she said, if you need a place to stay tonight, you can do that. I have a dog. You can stay as long as you need. And I was telling her, I'm an attorney. I was trying to tell her who I was, make sure I wasn't a creep or anything like that. She's like, I don't care. I've
For
been
all of
in
you who are
hard times
watching,
before.
you've been watching Monica for 74 minutes, so you do know that she is a creep. So, just like you guys know that I'm a creep. We're very, very creepy. But for anyone who doesn't know, I get that they would go by that story.
Yeah. But basically, I tried to explain, don't lose all your hope, because you don't want to go around in life and have no hope. I remember dealing with my own situation. It was like, okay, you don't want to start adopting a poverty mentality, especially
Mhm.
when my husband threw me out. I was like, if you start adopting a poverty mentality, you are never going to get ahead. Not going to work.
Yeah,
So it was
you know
like,
what? That reminds
not
me of
tomorrow.
I was talking yesterday on a break diving live stream. By the way, we need 550 hours of watch time in 6 weeks, or we don't get monetized. I don't know how we're going to do it, but if you guys can help, please go to the break diving channel on YouTube and please watch the videos on repeat over and over again. If we don't get the watch time, we've lost all 2,500 hours that I got over the last year. So if you can help, the channel is called Break Diving. Could really use your help. Anyway, I was giving a live stream on there, and I mentioned if you are so stressed about tomorrow, your brain is not in a clear frame of mind to help you solve the problem today. So that's what I was talking about. You got to kind of put tomorrow into an airtight compartment and get it away. Don't think about it. And it's kind of, it reminds me of what you were saying there. If you have a poverty mindset, that's not going to help you solve your financial problems today. If you're constantly thinking that you are thinking negatively. Let me just go through some of these comments here. Angel says, true, Julie Mumford. Miss T says, amen. Abu is back. Welcome back. Julie says, remember, there are many instances in the Bible where Jehovah says he will extend his right hand to you and fortify you. We were not guaranteed an easy path, but we are offered grace, mercy, and love. And someone talks about sign language. No idea what you're talking about, Abu. But no one's using sign language here. Abu says she looks like your sister. Yeah, she could probably be my sister.
Maybe you got
Maybe.
red hair in your family?
No.
Ah.
She's my auntie. Abu says, I don't have time and I'm not stressed. Good. Hey, if you're not stressed, I think that's wonderful. For any of you people who are not stressed, count your blessings.
Oh, yeah.
Be grateful that you're not anxious, you're not worried, you're not confused about anything, at least for now. But when that moment comes, take a deep breath and remember, I remember Monroe got through his crucibles. Monica got through her crucibles. Julie has a red-headed son.
Ah.
So, Julie, are you related to Monica? That's a big question. For some reason, Julie, I keep thinking you live in the UK. Do you live in the UK? Where do you live? Or are you American? I know we joked about Mumford and Sons, and you said that one of your sons does play guitar, I think. All Things Alaska says, I hear from people that travel the world say Americans are more stressed than. Oh, I have my PhD in psychology, and I remember reading this study showing that, like, the more poverty stricken the country is, the happier the people are. So the most first world countries, United States, Japan, South Korea, high suicide rates, high stress, high misery, high sadness. And people like for example, people living in Africa, they may have less money, they have less material things than we have, but they have a better outlook on life. They have better faith in God, excuse me. And they're just less stressed in general. So, wow, all of a sudden we've got a lot of comments. If you haven't, double click the screen so we can get to 20 likes, the gold medal on the YouTube live stream Olympics. Julie lives in Illinois, upper northwest corner. Abu says, I hear they eat beans on toast. The people in the UK, they do a lot of weird things. I'll tell you that. Angel, you've been to London before. That's cool. Angel, were you born in Germany? Like Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Are you German? Or are you American and moved to Germany? Why do you live in Germany? Miss T says, I watch on PBS Closer to Truth. Last Sunday it was mentioned. We don't know if we could die in an hour from now. It makes you think. That is true. We don't know if we could die in an hour, which means I should really take out this garbage.
Yeah, I had a coworker actually where I was working at the center. I had this great interpreter that I worked with. She was amazing. She was one of these people that she was one of these people that always made you feel welcome. You felt like you were in good hands if you worked with her.
Mm-hmm.
So she was one of the greatest interpreters I worked with at this center. She's a French interpreter. And actually, I found out like less than a week after I worked with her, our mental health person comes over to my cube and she's like, "Did you hear what happened?" And I was like, what happened?" And she's like, "This person passed away." And I was like, "Really?" And I was just like, it just hit me. I was just in shock because I was like, "What in the world happened?" I was just like, did she get attacked randomly going home or something? Like, did somebody just attack her in random street crime? What happened? I mean, this is New York. It can be dangerous here. So then I was just like, this is just stunning because I had just worked with her a few days prior. And she didn't say anything about, oh, I don't feel well or anything like that. Like she said, occasionally, sometimes she had a headache or something, but it wasn't like, oh, I'm sick or I'm in bad shape. And she didn't look like she was unhappy or miserable, anything like that. So I remember that a lot of people at my job, they were stunned too, because she was this great interpreter, one of the nicest people you could work with. She definitely was not an egocentric type. In fact, I got to go to her funeral when they had it a few weeks later, which happened to be during like Thanksgiving break. And I didn't have money to go see my family for Thanksgiving, or I would have done that. And I was like, I'm going to have to stay in New York. I can't afford it. But then I found out that's when her funeral was. And I was like, I really want to go to the funeral. I want to pay respects to the family. So then I found out at the funeral, she apparently did do singing and she had an entertainment career. And she knew I was an entertainment attorney, but she never said anything to me about that. She was never like, oh, will you go listen to my songs? Will you read
Mm-hmm.
my script? And you get this all the time. I'm sure you dealt with a lot of this yourself. Like if you're an entertainment attorney or you work in that field, people think you're going to be their agent or they want you to read their content all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, she was never somebody that did that. She was always focused on helping the client. She would take that extra step. She really was somebody who was nurturing, had that caring hand. And I made sure to do that when they gave the audience an opportunity to speak about her. I wanted to make sure to highlight that because I felt it was important. But I thought about that and I thought, I'm sure she didn't see death coming. And I tried to remember, I should go and live my life and do the things I can do because she can't. My father can't. He died very sudden.
Mm-hmm.
My younger sister's first husband, there were a lot of things that he didn't get to do. He died when he was 21. At a sudden, he just collapsed at work one day. His heart gave out. And he wanted to come to New York City. He got to go because of me, because I was looking at law schools.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to see a real life pimp. He didn't get to see a pimp in New York.
He will now.
Yeah, basically, I even said, and I remember I told this to the family of the interpreter who died. I'm like, she's probably somewhere in heaven. Maybe she's enjoying her yellow, her favorite color. And maybe she's hanging out with my dad and Tony Soprano.
Ah,
Because James Gandolfini died not long after my father died. And I said, that's probably because my dad said, I don't get to see the last season of Breaking Bad, but I'd sure like to meet that Tony Soprano.
that's funny.
If you knew my dad, he'd be the kind of guy who could probably make something like that happen.
Well, good. I'm glad they're hanging up. They're hanging out up there together. And it's
So,
true. We don't know. Yeah, it could. Again, it gets you thinking. It's like if I knew that I only had a year to live, I'd go back to China immediately because I want to see Shanghai again. Uh, I'd go visit New York more sooner because I miss New York, and I'd get out of this heat right now. Uh, I'd probably move back to New York immediately and just say, "Hey, mom, let's go. We're moving back to New York." Which reminds me, it kind of makes me feel like it's where I'm supposed to be, even though I don't like the direction that New York City is going. I mean, I'm a New Yorker, and just us talking about this, and like I'm trying to figure out what the heck do we do. I mean, if we move back to New York, it's expensive. It's going to cost like 6 to 10,000 just to move everything back there. It's not inexpensive to move You got to rent. You know how much a U-Haul truck costs one way from New York to Florida, or or at least it was back in 2021.
Oh, that I.
$3,500.
Hmm.
$3,500 plus gasoline, plus tolls. I couldn't believe it. I mean, that's, you may as well just hire a moving company. Moving anyway. Just I should check and see. I'm curious to see what moving costs are now, because I think it was because everybody was moving from New York to Florida,
Yeah.
and maybe going from Florida to New York, maybe it's half price because not that many people are doing that. So I'm gonna
You
look
think
into that.
so?
Let me look at the comments. Hi, Vivi. How are you? Been a while. Nice to see you. Hope school has started okay for you. Hello, highlights. You live in Africa. If you're still here, are you happier than me and Monica? Because apparently, based on statistics, you should be. Abu says a black person with colored hair. Who's a black person with colored hair? Because neither of us are black. In case you, I don't know if you could tell, but we're both very white. Angel was born in Berlin, Deutschland. Das ist sehr gut, Angel. Das ist sehr good. Your Majesties, there is a second bus coming. I have no idea what movie that's from. Is that from a movie or from a book? Miss T is laughing at something. Julie Mumford says the last name does have English roots and also German heritage. Abu's going to take it. You're the only person with humor here. Oh, thank you, Abu. So you got my joke that I said to Monica? I saw Monica looking at me like this. I said, "Oh my gosh, I don't think she knows that I'm just joshing." Abu says, "I remember a thing from New York." Bless her heart, says Miss T. I think you're talking about the girl, the
Yeah.
coworker. Abu says, "I'm going to be laugh at my own jokes, and my name is I hate my own jokes." I have no idea what you're talking about, Abu. Angel says, "I used my name in English, then Dutch, because a lot of people can't say my name in Dutch." Interesting. What's your actual name, Angel? You're saying your name is not really Angel? What's your real name? Uh, let's see. Someone's going to learn spin jutsu. The chat is just a circle of pictures. I've Abu, you're losing me, my friend. By the way, we're one like away from the gold medal on the YouTube live stream Olympics. One more like. Double click the screen. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now. Didn't work.
Oh, no. Well, my cat hopped over here on this blanket over here, so I don't know if she's going to try and visit me. It's very
That
possible.
I bet we'll get 20 likes if the cat comes over and tries to visit.
Yeah, she is sitting in the sunshine, so now it's like sunshine, ooh, sunshine. You know, cats love it.
Somebody just took a like away. Shame on you. Shame on you. That's okay. We're almost at 90 minutes, so in about 3 minutes, I think we'll probably call it for the day. And you know what's weird? Oh no, we can't. No, that's right. No, it's not weird. Never mind. I just still don't understand why. When you do a YouTube live by yourself, I can do polls. I
Mhm.
can't do polls when a guest is here. I was going to do a poll: should we have Monica back again? But we know the answer is yes. So, uh, Abu, I don't know why you can't finish your. Sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great pleasure to have all of you here today. Monica, what are your final words of wisdom, or anything you want to promote, or anything that if you want people to go listen to your podcast or anything? The floor is yours.
Okay, so my podcast is The Gorgeous Ginger Lawyer. I'm about to start season 6 on that very shortly. So you can find it on Spotify, iHeartRadio, quite a few places. I also have my own channel here. I believe that is Gorgeous Ginger Lawyer. My kitties have a channel, Coral and Tsunami. It's called The Adventures of Coral and Tsunami if you want to see some of their exploits. And my website is www.monicaTRO, M as in Mary, B as in boy, LEY.com if you want to check out reels.
Wait. Say the
headshots,
say the
all kinds of
website.
stuff.
Say the website again.
It is www.monicatrombley.com. So I spelled it out.
Oh,
People screw up my name sometimes.
MonicaTrombley.com. So got it. And Trombley spelled TR. Correct me if I'm wrong. TROMBLEY.
Yep.
MonicaTrombley.com.
Fantastic. Yeah, we'll have Monica back again. She's an entertaining guest. She's got great perspectives. Her sense of humor is hit or miss because sometimes she doesn't know that I'm joking. My two jokes for her. She looked at me with the death stare.
Hey,
She's
at least I
smiling.
didn't give you the look my sister gave when we were doing the writing rehearsal, and they got to the if anybody objects part, and my sister basically gives the congregation a dirty look. Like, she'll deny she did this, but she definitely glared at the congregation.
This was during your marriage?
No, this was during her wedding rehearsal to, I believe, her second husband, or it might have been her first husband, but I remember that she like glares.
Glares can
Like,
be
like,
very
don't you even
influential.
think of saying I object to these two getting married? Like, don't you even think of objecting to me marrying my man?
Well, I am going to glare at you the next time you don't get one of my jokes. I'm going to glare right back at you, and you could be. Let me look. Cats are cute, says Abu. They are pretty tall in the Netherlands. I think they have the Nether from Minecraft there. Julie says, "Oh no, I was hoping you would go longer." I'm refinishing an old Mersman end table, and was hoping to listen along as I stripped the varnish off the table. Wow. What's a Mersman end table? Have you heard of Mersman before, Monica?
No.
No, I haven't heard of Mersman either. Abu says, "Why didn't she say that?" Abu, I don't know what you're talking about. Every word out of your mouth is like you're talking about like from a different conversation. Very, very confusing. All things Alaska. Monica sounds like the lady actress that played on Frasier, the ex-wife of Frasier. Oh, what was her Bebe was her name, the actress. Baby Newworth. Do you know that actress?
No, but I usually get, you look like the chick from News Radio. I used to get that all the time.
Well, now you're
Like,
getting.
you
You
look
say
like
you
Vicki
sound
Lewis.
like Bebe Newworth on Frasier. Do you remember Frasier? You kind of do have that a little bit of that voice
I
of
never saw it, is the weird
Lilith.
thing. I never
You've
saw
never
it.
seen Frasier?
No, I mean, I hadn't seen Seinfeld until more recently, okay? My mom was super strict growing up.
Oh my
She was,
gosh!
seriously.
Oh my gosh! All right, well, do you have Hulu?
I do.
Frasier is free on there.
Okay.
So, will you please start watching Frasier? It is hilarious. It's so good. There are a couple TV shows that are so good that I just watch them beginning to end, and then I start all over again.
Hmm.
Seinfeld, Frasier,
Guys
Doc Martin. If you
Mm-hmm.
haven't heard of that, it's a British TV show. They just finished their last season last year, and King of Queens.
Ah.
Those are hilarious. Anyway, I expect you to watch them, and then you'll give an update on Frasier. All things Alaska, you're so funny. She does sound like Baby Newworth. Abu says she sounds like the girl from The Office. Julie says Mersman is a furniture company from the 1800s. Ah, is that the field of work that you're in? Is restoring old wooden furniture? Because if so, I have a question for you. All things Alaska says Lilith. Yeah, Lilith. Abu says, I bet Monroe can do a backflip. As I told you, look, I can do a backflip, but I use the phone. Ready? By the way, Monica, did you actually see the phone do a flip?
I did.
Did it get interrupted in the middle or no?
No.
Because every time I do that, it tries to tell me that the phone needs to be vertical.
Hmm.
And I thought maybe it would like stop recording or something like that.
Yeah.
Julie, I'm waiting for you to tell me about your background with furniture restoration. And I guess I'll tell you why I'm telling you this. In the storage locker here in Miami, we've got lots of Ming Dynasty China replica furniture from Dynasty Furniture, built in the early 1900s, like 1920s. And I am curious to know if you know anybody who could help appraise it and figure out if I should just get rid of it, give it away, or should I sell it to somebody for top dollar? So, Julie, let me know. My dad owned a refinishing upholstery business. Abu says that Abu is just. By the way, whoever just joined, please double click the screen. We need 20 likes. We're one like away from 20 likes. While we're waiting, and Julie, you should be grateful. We're giving you a little bit of extra time because you asked. Because you asked nicely. Though, if you really want me to stay, you can give a super chat for $10. Then we'll stay. Then we'll stay for another 20 minutes. Monica, what do you know about furniture?
Let's see. That definitely wouldn't be my background per se. I was just like, I'm lucky I got my own nice bed now. That was a big accomplishment when I moved into my apartment because I was literally sleeping on an air mattress with bins underneath when I moved in here.
Congratulations. Every day that you have a bed to sleep in should, I guess, be a good day. Is that what you're saying?
That's true, yeah. That at least you're moving up a little bit in life, you know?
Literally, you're moving up from the floor to 2 feet off the floor. What the heck is... You guys, this chat is very funny today. Have you met a famous lawyer? Had one as opposing counsel in a case? My dad was a famous lawyer. He was in Westchester County, New York. He was either your work. If you got sued by him, you got scared out of your mind. And if you were his attorney, very often they would settle before going to trial because they didn't want to face my dad. I always feel a little less because I don't know how he was such a good attorney and how he made so much money, but he was a legend. And even today, when I go back to places in Westchester County, New York, and say my name is Monroe Mann, they go, you're not, are you related to that attorney Monroe Mann? I go, yeah, that was my father. So, but that's the closest to a famous attorney. I don't know if that's what you mean, but I mean, he was pretty much a legend in Westchester County, New York. How about you? Do you know any famous attorneys? I don't even know what the question is. Like a famous lawyer,
Yeah,
but
because that's kind of hard to gauge. There's not too many that are famous. I did have this guy who was pursuing me who said that he was on a case dealing with the attorney representing Jordan Neely.
really, no, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So has that attorney had a famous client?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Actually, yeah, and actually I do have a film project idea that was kind of based off that. Because I am an advocate of self defense. I am a hardcore advocate of being able to defend yourself. In fact, I'm like, I think people that, if society looks at you and thinks, oh no, you won't be able to defend yourself, you're this weak target, I think it would be better for society if everybody just assumed those people were armed.
Mm-hmm.
We'd have a much more polite society if they just assumed, okay, maybe you shouldn't go bash the gay people. You shouldn't go harm women. You shouldn't be harming folk because chances are they might be armed and a good shot and they will shoot you in places you don't want to be shot.
Wise words. Do you think pineapple pizza is a crime? Absolutely not, Abu. Especially if it has corn on it. That is delicious. In fact, you've inspired me. After I'm done, I'm going to go to it's called Peephole Pizza here and go get a pineapple corn pizza. It's not famous familia, unfortunately. That's really, really good. All Things Alaska. Just curious. I saw Harvey Levin once passing through an airport. It was awesome. Known of him since I was a young kid. Oh, you know what? I guess I have a story then. All Things Alaska that you'll like. Oh my gosh, Julie Mumford just super chatted 10.
Oh, nice.
I guess we're going for a little bit long. Monica, you got a little bit more time?
Yeah, I think so. Like I was gonna go to this other Zoom meeting, but I might show up later.
So yeah, we'll go for at least another 10 minutes because we've gone for another 10 minutes already, and now Julie just got the additional 10 minutes. So let me first add Julie to the super board. Julie Mumford, $10. More Monica. We'll call that the more Monica super chat. Abu says, "Oh my gosh, $10. Why am I so happy? Like I got the money." Abu, you kind of did get the money because that money is being recirculated to encourage me to keep going. And the sun got in your eyes.
Yeah, basically, this is the thing. My apartment is in a neighborhood called Sunnyside. Now, when I moved to Sunnyside, you might think, oh, it's just a name, but literally, my place has wonderful, amazing natural light. Like when it's a sunny day here, you do not need lights on until it is nighttime. The
Well,
natural light's amazing, but sometimes it will hit your face right. Like it'll hit your face, you'll get blinded over here. It happens at my other window in my little dining alcove around 9 in the morning. So it's like I can't work on my computer then. But if I moved over here, it's like if I try to do computer work here, it'd be like, oh my God, that's hitting my face. But that's one of the things I liked about this. And it's like growing up, I had a lot of friends who were goth people. So it's like I dated this guy who was like goth punk in college. And it's like, wow, I knew these people were like very kind of goth. And I'm here in this apartment in Sunnyside and I'm like around like sunshine and happiness. It's crazy.
that's great. That's very fitting. So let me get up the story. I used to live in Port Chester, New York. It's kind of where I want to move back to, believe it or not. And that was in Westchester County, New York. And this was maybe, I think this was before she was on Fox News. But I saw someone I recognized at the popcorn stand. I said, I know that person. And turned out to be Janine Pirro.
Oh, wow.
And I went, "Hi, Janine." And she went, "Hi." That's my story. I guess that's the most famous attorney.
Hmm.
She's probably one of the most famous attorneys alive right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's see something here.
is there any famous attorney on other news stations?
I do remember, like, obviously, like Judge Judy, and she made the comment about, yeah, they need to focus more on combating crime in New York. I remember reading that a while back.
Huh. But you never met, yeah. I'm trying to think, like,
No.
is there someone on CNN or CNBC or someone who's just as famous as Janine Pirro? I don't think so. More comments here. Abu, I just sent your 18 cents commission via World Remit. You can pick it up at the local station. Julie says, ooh, the varnish stripper brand I am using is called Sunnyside.
Hmm.
And Abu is a potato. Don't ask me why. Very good to know. All things Alaska. I would not want to be on her bad side. Are you talking about Monica or
Hero.
or Janine Pirro? Or I guess probably either. I would agree. I wouldn't want to be on Monica or Janine Pirro's bad side. Neither. Especially since I know that Monica now carries mace and a stun gun. So you get maced and then you get stunned. That's got to be pretty. Well, actually, that wouldn't be that bad because as soon as you get stunned, you wouldn't feel the pain in your eyes anymore from the mace.
Maybe not. I'm not sure. But I'm like, fortunately, I've never had to use this stuff. I did have one experience where I thought I was going to have to use that, but ironically, that was in Atlanta, not New York. I had scarier stuff happen in Atlanta than New York, oddly enough.
I think that is wild that you haven't had to use. I'm glad. I am glad that you have not had to use that. Abba says she looks like that one crazy neighbor mom. I would take that as a compliment.
Yeah, that's a thought. I've said this. I'm like, okay, that's kind of the trick to life. And people think redheads are crazy anyway. Of like, if people think you're crazy, they're less likely to mess with you, and they're
That
less
is
likely
true.
to cause you problems.
No one will mess with Monica. Am I right?
Smart people don't. Like, I feel like if you're smart, you don't do that. Like, I even look at that calculation and say, if somebody bothers you, it's like, okay, is that fight worth going to jail over? Is that worth losing your law license? So it's like, no, if I had to get in a fight with somebody, had a conflict, no, I'd better be either seriously ticked off or they did something truly awful for me to do that. Okay. Like I hear about some of this and I'm like, yeah, you got to save, you got to conserve that because do you want to not see your children? Do you want to not have,
Yeah,
you know,
I
you
would
want to
not
not
mess with
have
a
your
redhead. You
freedom?
don't mess with a redhead. Hi, Lemon Man. I remember Chase. Are you Chase? And what's up, Lazy Editor? Hey, can Lazy Editor and Lemon Man please click like so we can get to 21 likes? Double click the screen right now. You got 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on, one more. 0.
I saw
Shazam!
20.
Well, we did get to 20.
I saw 20.
We got the gold medal on the YouTube live stream Olympics. Abu says a lazy editor, get back to the basement to work. I agree. Why are you a lazy editor? Why can't you be a productive editor? Why can't you be an editor that gets the job done? You look good in this light, Monica.
Really, I'm just like, okay, the sun is like intense right over here. So at least I don't have too much white showing in my hair. It's still kind of really bright, anyhow.
What do you get sunburned easily?
Oh, I would. Although I got to go to Spa Castle. It's this Yelp Elite event on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're familiar with Spa Castle. It was like kind of further out in Queens, and I'd heard about it. I had this guy invite me years ago, but I didn't get to go. But Yelp had an elite event for it, and apparently they've had remodeling and things like that. So part of Spa Castle is they have these pools, and this was out in the sun, and I didn't have sunblock. So I was terrified I was going to get sunburned, but I was like, I am going to go in these pools. I'm going to do that. I'm big on water. So I'm like, I'm going in the pool, darn it. I brought my swimsuit. I'm prepared. And surprisingly, I didn't get sunburned there, but usually it doesn't work so hot. As a redhead, it's like you look at the sun looks at you funny, you look at the sun, it's like boom. You're burned, you're gonna be lobster red. It's gonna hurt.
Yeah, I don't tan very easily. I get freckles. Same with you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah,
Right.
look at my face, you can look at my arms, they definitely
Look at
freckle
my
up big
arm.
time.
It's just filled.
Oh yeah.
It's filled with freckles. Same thing with my legs. My legs aren't too bad, but they're still. I should look. My legs are still freckled. Yeah, see.
Yeah.
They don't. They say that we're more likely to have skin cancer. People who get freckles. I
Oh
hope
yeah,
not.
definitely it's a higher risk. It's a big time high risk for redheads, actually. Huge.
So, fingers crossed that we don't get them. And Abu says it's 10:48 p.m. in Algeria. You want to say Algeria in my country? Well, in order for me to say Algeria in your country, I'd have to fly to your country, and that's a little bit expensive just to say the word Algeria in your country. Would you fly to Algeria just to say Algeria in his country?
Yeah, I think anywhere I go kind of depends on how are redheads treated there. Are redheads treated properly, or are they going to be like, you're a witch, we're going to come kill you? We don't
Yeah.
know.
What if your redheads are treated poorly in Algeria, but Abu will give you a all expenses paid trip? Would you go?
If I got a cat sitter for the kitties, I might.
You'll take the risk of being another redheaded victim.
Or at least I know how to. I haven't done things, so it's like, okay, you only live once. There's that idea too. I kind of go with that.
Do you like the idea of that they're making a new Harry Potter TV show?
I haven't been as much in the fandom. That's probably a good question to ask my mom because I saw the first couple of movies. I think I saw up to the third movie in the theater. I think that's about as far as I saw it.
Yeah,
I know there's been the whole controversy with J.K. Rowling and all.
I read a bunch of them,
Yeah.
and then I don't think I think I kind of trickled off at the end too. You should ask your mom. I'm curious. A lot of people are up in arms about it and saying why mess with a masterpiece, but others are. What about Lord of the Rings? Are you a fan of them?
I think I only saw the first one, so my mom actually might be a little more familiar with the fandom. Like she was a big fan of Doctor Who, like back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And she actually was not a fan of she's actually not a fan of Tom Baker, who apparently is the Doctor. Like everybody who's a Doctor Who fan apparently likes Tom Baker. My mom likes Peter Davidson, and she said I like Peter Davidson because he's cute.
Ah,
That's her reason.
that's a good reason.
And if
Lazy
you
editor
saw
says the Trump administration notified Congress that it will cancel $5 billion in congressionally approved foreign aid via pocket rescissions. Good to know. Thank you. Lazy editor, I have forgotten about all of your updates about the Trump administration. You always give these random Trump updates in the comments, and I appreciate that. That was always interesting. 44 da solo kidu dash space capital S capital Z capital N. How's it going? And why is a lazy editor a politician? I don't know. Is that a joke? Is that going to be a punchline? Lazy editor is not a politician. Lazy editor is basically just that, a lazy editor. He's definitely a lazy moderator because I haven't seen lazy editor on the channel in months. I don't know where you've been. Shame on you, lazy editor. Unbelievable. Julie Mumford, I prefer J.R.R. Tolkien books. Yeah, those are the Lord of the Rings. I wish they would do another like Lord of the Rings, like J.R.R. Tolkien movie or series again, done by the same director. What was his name? Peter Jackson.
yeah.
He did a very, very, very nice job. Um, the Lord of the Rings TV show is so. It's nothing great. It's like popcorn bubblegum television. Um, but I wish there would be another series that's like the Lord of the Rings or like Game of Thrones, something that's really, really great like that. But there's nothing. There's nothing. So, anywho, ladies and gentlemen, Julie, you got us for an extra 22 minutes. You got us for an extra 22 minutes. So now we're going to end the live stream. Julie, thank you so much for your support. Always makes me feel better when there's not a zero next to the super chat number in the top there. Uh, do you see the super chat number in the top as well? What do you see, Monica? You see the number of people here, the number of likes. What else?
And I see the live in the clock, and I see a crown. It says top fans, and then there's like a little border on the side of me.
Oh, so you don't see a thing that says $10.
No, I
And
just
you don't
saw it
see a
within the
thing that
chat.
shows. So that's just for me. I always thought the guests saw that as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Last comments. Julie Mumford says 100%. Did you see a person's making an animatronic, bulletproof, waterproof, fireproof? What? A what? Julie, this morning I watched an old Hepburn Grant movie. Which one was that? Charade or Breakfast at Tiffany's? Lazy editor says I was busy with my rifle. I went to Penn State Game Lands Range. Good. I hope you had a good time. Glad you made it back safely. Angel, so wait, the fans see the super chat. You see $10? Angel, you're telling me you see $10 at the top of the screen? Julie, do you see $10 at the top of the screen? Or is it just Angel? I've never seen Bringing Up Baby. Did you see Bringing Up Baby?
No, I've seen the Philadelphia Story.
Oh, I haven't seen that one either. That's with Cary Grant and Hepburn.
Yeah. And it also has James Stewart in it because Katharine Hepburn's marrying this other guy, and Cary Grant's her ex-husband.
Oh, I'm not. Who's the other girl? Not Katharine Hepburn, but the other girl that Cary Grant is in a movie with. A really famous actress. She's looked very petite. Audrey Hepburn. That's who I'm thinking of. So she's talking about a Katharine Hepburn. I was thinking of Audrey. Julie does not see $10 at the top of the screen. Okay, so it's the only person who sees that is me. Got it. Well, Monica, it's been a pleasure. This was a very fast, almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
At least for me. Was it fast for you?
Oh yeah.
That's good to hear. Great to have you here. Julie, thank you again for the super chat. Monica, now you have to give what are your words of wisdom for everybody before we go?
Let's see. I would say, for one thing, you only live once. Own who you are. And if they don't like it, F them.
Beautiful, beautiful words. And remember, her website is monicatrombley.com or Monica Trombley Law. Which one was it?
Well, there's monicatrombley.com. I also have monicatrombleyesq.com. So it both goes to the same website.
Okay, so it's MonicaTrombley, monicatrombley.com.
Yeah.
And Abu, you cannot swear for your last words. Julie says, thank you for dropping by, Monica. I've enjoyed the chat very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Julie.
Abu, great to see you. Julie, great to see you. Angel, great to see you. Lazy Editor, great to see you. Everybody else, thank you so much. We got 21 likes. We got the gold medal on the YouTube live stream Olympics. Hope we entertained you, inspired you, made you smile, maybe think about something, maybe educated you about something going on in the world. Certainly, you know that the Prime Minister of Thailand was removed in her conversation with the head of Cambodia, and he turned her in for calling him uncle. And this is a true story, so you can check that out. Monica, always a pleasure. Great to be in touch with you again after a little bit of a hiatus. And go to Bryant Park for me.
Okay.
And go to Mimi's Pizza on the Upper West Side for me on Broadway. And go visit Times Square for me.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Okay.
See you later, everyone.